The honourable member for Dawson.
Well, thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I do thank the member for Fairfax for moving this important motion. Now, a survey was published in The Australian yesterday showing 70% of those who were surveyed ranked power prices and reliability as the highest priority. Only 24% ranked meeting emissions targets as the priority. Now, many in that 24% will no doubt be those who can afford massive power prices and those who believe the world will end by Christmas if we don't make sacrifices to the climate gods. Now, yesterday, in an opinion piece to my local newspaper, the Daily Mercury, in Mackay, the Queensland Minister for Energy and Gullibility, Mark Bailey, described renewables as the cheapest form of power. He said that near Townsville, in my electorate, quote, Sun Metals is constructing Queensland's largest industrial solar project with 1.3 million solar panels, providing the zinc refinery with a third of their baseload needs. That's right, baseload power, end quote. Well, no, it's hardly baseload if it only generates a third of the needs of a single business. And if it takes 1.3 million solar panels to do that, the 50% renewables target is going to turn Queensland from the sunshine state into the shady state. In criticising my commitment to affordable and reliable electricity through clean coal generation, the minister asserted that stagecoaches served their purpose till motor cars and Henry Ford came along. What the minister fails to recognise is that people didn't start using cars because the government taxed horses or subsidised cars or poured taxpayer money into car production or banned the construction of stagecoaches. For the past decade, we have seen government interference in the energy market on a grand scale, trying to force renewables onto people and using the people's money to do it. And where has it got us in Queensland? Well, according to the Queensland Productivity Commission's report on energy pricing released last year, electricity prices in Brisbane increased 87% in the past decade. But in the previous 26 years, electricity prices had not increased at all. So why is that? In 26 years, from 1980 to 81 to 2006-7, the cost of electricity did not rise. But in the 9 years from 2007 to 2016, the cost of electricity increased 87%. And if you go back over the past decade, we find that Labor governments, and regrettably, but to a lesser extent coalition governments, have been spruiking renewables at any cost. But it has come as a cost. Billions of dollars and costly regulations, $1 billion of free money through the Australian Renewable Energy Agency, large-scale and small-scale renewable energy targets, solar panel rebates, $1.6 billion in the Solar Flagships program, the Solar Cities program, feed-in tariffs in Queensland of 44 cents per kilowatt hour, more than double the domestic use tariff of 21.3 cents per kilowatt hour, the Clean Energy Initiative, the Clean Energy Trade and Investment Strategy, the Solar Homes and Communities Plan, the Green Loans Program. Minister Bailey himself spoke this week about spending $386 million on clean energy, and of course we had Labor's carbon tax. Now, with all that free money, subsidies, mandated usage and the carbon tax, what actually happened? Electricity prices went up 87%. And now Labor and the Greens and the climate gullibles all say that we can lower prices by spending more on renewables and shutting down more coal-fired power. I'm reminded of a very popular definition of stupidity, which is to keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Now, according to the Climate Council, the biggest user of wind power is Denmark, and the biggest user of solar power is Germany. Now, is it somewhat of a coincidence that those two countries, Denmark and Germany, have far and away the most expensive electricity in the OECD, double the average? If we want a different result, we need a different strategy. Now, what Australia hasn't done in the past decade is build high-efficiency, low-emission, coal-fired power generators that can provide power for $60 to $70 per megawatt hour, including building and operating costs. Cheaper than wind, half the cost of solar, and a quarter of the cost of solar thermal with storage. Around the world, there's more than 1,000 of these supercritical and ultra-supercritical units, with another 1,231 planned or already under construction. Over the next 5 years, 88% of new coal-fired power will be in Asia, mostly supercritical and ultra-supercritical. China has 579 of these units, building another 575. India another 395. Japan 52. South Korea 18. Another 90 in Vietnam, Indonesia and the Philippines. Australia plans zero. It's time we delivered on what people want and people need. Power they can afford, power they can rely on with new clean coal generators, especially one in North Queensland.
I thank the member.